I don't believe it's any. So when people go, where's the non-duality? That's what this is really, and then questioning maybe that's not so. And if you question duality, it's obviously going to lead to questioning dualism, which is the subject-object paradigm. Yeah, that you believe the subjectivity that's moving through this event. There's a mental acquisition of that or a claiming of it, and now the mental claiming says, I'm what's seeing, I'm what's conscious. Instead of consciousness being what's so, I become this, what's so becomes an attribute to what I believe is so, which isn't so in my own experience, yeah? So now this becomes the subject, and it claims all the subjectivity moving through it. And then you have subject-object dualism, and then it moves into duality. So if you question duality, it's going to definitely lead you to questioning the sense of being a you. Yeah. Because why things appear to be two, like yes, no, high, low, this and that, is because of the seeming one. Yeah. The one is the root of duality. There's not duality, it's a perception. And the perception comes from a mind that's been configured in a sense of being an independent, long-lasting, separate entity, yeah? In that configuration, it sees everything dualistically. Yes, no, high, low, good and far, connected, disconnected. And it just gets into a lot of mischief, yeah? You forget the essentials, and it's sort of like you see all the trees, but you forget the forest, yeah? And you think by studying trees it's going to lead you to knowing the forest. It doesn't work that way. It's a view. It's a different view than seeing trees than knowing the forest. So like Jesus said, supposedly, for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear, obviously everyone has eyes and ears, most people, but some don't have the eyes to see or the ears to hear. Their mind is configured in a way that, let's say if they hear that they're a lion, make sure... Yes. Let's say they're hearing a message that you're a lion. And we're not saying you're a lion, we're just using that as a message. You're a lion, yeah? And some people don't like to hear that because they think, they're really proud of being a sheep, let's say, thinking they're a sheep. So they don't want to, and then you go, you're a lion. And some people really like that idea. Hey, I'm a lion. And then so they hear the message, I'm a lion, I'm a lion, I'm a lion, I'm a lion. But then it hits their ears, which are configured, yeah, into being a sheep. So now that gets translated in sheep world as I can become like a lion. Yeah? That's not the message.
So your message to attain the shift is what?
Do nothing.
Do nothing.
Yeah, there's no need to attain the shift. The shift is disguised. There is no shift. There is the view. We're in a seeming shift. We're in a mental shift now.
Let's go up to Napa Valley and have a glass of wine then.
I don't have that tendency anymore. If you would have said that 26 years ago, we would have left here already. I would have called the dealer and we would have picked up some coke. And then I would have gotten rid of you. But those tendencies aren't dominant anymore. Yeah? There's no choice. You think you have a choice. Well, there isn't a choice, really. Everything's predilected on conditioning. They do simple research and it proves it very easily, They have a neuroscientist all plugged in. And after this, we'll ask questions later, because it's like producing a little souffle here, So you don't want to open the stove door until it's done. But let's say you have this neuroscientist. When I was in Australia, I saw this research. And this neuroscientist, they have all these electrodes on her, and they have a simple, clock with an arrow, and they say, all right, we're going to tell you, just choose whenever you want to stop it, yeah? And so she would choose it, and then she'd say, I'm going to choose it, and then not, and then choose it, trying even to fool herself. But every time she chose, prior to the choice, being made, the brain lit up about a second before. So the brain already chose, and then when the event happens, the mental process claims to be the chooser. That's what happens, yeah? So life is happening, and then a mental process arises and has a story that it's happening to you. And it has supplanted the story with their actual event. So the event is now hidden from the story's point of view, and now you're searching for it like a goal, but basically it's just being covered by a mental activity. So it's sort of like, when you were a kid, you didn't have a sense of self until about 18 months, basically, they say. You were sort of there was just an event going on. Consciousness was moving through this apparatus, the nerves had to get together and everything like that. You see kids, they're wild, but you see in their eyes, their eyes are very, very clear, and there's a weightness there, So then the mental process produces a sense of being a self. That's what it does. It sort of makes, I guess maybe it organizes all these disparate feelings and things that are going on into, they're happening to me, to make some fucking sense of it. Who knows if there's a strategy or not, but it does. And the mental process, after a period of time, seems to dominate the event. And so that process takes time. So at first, what's occurring is conscious contact. The basic day is based on seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching, and then hearing thoughts about the seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, and touching. Really, basically, there's conscious contact going on. You're seeing the day, you're hearing the day, you're feeling things, you're touching, you're tasting. And then there's ruminations and recollections and all like that, which is trying to live from a past about an event that's going on now. So that's conscious contact. Now, and that's what we were in when we were kids, young kids. And even when we got to it, even after the selfing started to dominate, we had many, many stretches where that was the dominant theme. We were just here because we hadn't thought we could be anywhere else. So there was no need, we weren't looking for retreats or techniques to get into the moment. We hadn't entertained that we could possibly be out of the moment. So it was like something that's called like a very high peak experience was the norm when we were kids. People are trying to get into the moment with all these freaking techniques. We weren't practicing any techniques because the mind hadn't entertained it could be out of the moment yet. That's the beauty of it. The beauty of it is not trying to get into what you can't be out of, but recognizing what's saying you can be out of it. If you're not beholden to that, you're in. And then you realize you've never been out, and therefore you'll never be out, and it's done. It's a done deal. So you get that basic platform located in the right place, here, in a way, and then build on that. And then it does build. It builds on common sense. Blue becomes blue and red becomes red, and then your mind gets reshuffled, and it just serves you better because you're entertaining today instead of yesterday and tomorrow. It's attempting to, but your interest doesn't go there because you're bored of it, really. And the only reason why you're not bored of it quicker is you think it's about you. If you're not that you it's about, you'll be bored with the thought system. Just like you're bored with someone else's thought system if they keep calling you and start talking about what's not happening. You're bored stiff, aren't you? But you've been listening to that in your head for 40 years, thinking it's incredible, novel, and I'm very creative. It's as boring as the others. It's a stale thought system based on a failed idea that you're a long-lasting, independent, separate entity. So this is what it is. There's no shift needed. What's so has never been out not so. The shift is still giving relevance to a self as if an idea of self could do any kind of shifting out of what is. It can't. That's the whole point. It becomes a total impossibility that things could be different than they truly are. You don't have the power that you think you have. The only thing the mental process has, it can obscure. It can't change a fucking thing. It can obscure things. It can make things seem to be so, which means it appears to be true or false to you. But it cannot bring about a reality. It can just doctor one up. It can obscure one. It can sort of distract you from it, but it can't erase it. It's the context. It's like self trying to get out of self. Why doesn't it work? Because you're not in self. That's why it doesn't work trying to get out of self. You can't get out of what you're not in. I don't care if you have a 5,000-year-old tried and true method, you're not going to get out of what you're not in. And that's the revelation. That's the absolute. Nothing that's happened has changed what's so. Nothing. It doesn't have the power to. It doesn't have the power to. Nothing. 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 It doesn't have the power to. Noth So from there, you learn about the problem, the quote-unquote problem, from the solution. You get relief from it, and then you know it. You know it by its absence. Because all it is effects. All it is influences. All it is inferences, assumptions, implications, insinuations. The process of selfing cannot make a self. It can only point to one, and then the mind makes the leap. And it can't make a self either. It can just take itself to be one, but it can't make itself a self. Yeah? It can't make mind self. But the mind can live as if it is a self. It can appear to live as a self, but it isn't one. So here it is, your head. We use it a simple example. Like I went to back east months ago. I hadn't been there in a while, and my hair had grown because I hadn't cut it. You know? So people go, "Oh, you've grown your hair." And, "Oh, yes, I'm really working hard on it and growing it, and it's just booming and stuff." No, I'm just not cutting my hair. You know, I have nothing to do with the growth of the hair. You know, except not doing something. That's the only way I can affect it is by doing something. If I don't do anything, it just grows. So, but the language infers that I have something to do with something I have nothing to do with. Well, expand on that freaking idea. Because the language is implying and insinuating and inferring you have tons to do with stuff you have nothing to do with. Mostly about life. Yeah. And if that starts getting entertained, more and more you'll see life is happening, and less you'll see life is happening to you. You'll just see life is happening instead of to you. Or false evidence appears real, an acronym for fear in recovery. False evidence appears real. How could false evidence be real? It can't, but it can appear to be real. But it needs a you to make it appear to be real too. Because it cannot appear to be real. It has to be seen as real by what's real? By mind, yeah? Mind has to give it the sense of being real. Because it doesn't have a reality. Mind gives it the meaning that it is. That's why something can bother you today if you're in bad shape. The next day you're in good shape, it doesn't bother you, and the next day you're quote-unquote in bad shape, then it bothers you again. Does it have the ability to bother you or not bother you? You lend it all the ability it has, because it's not real. But you are. Yeah? Not the self, but the mind is real. So the mind is giving meaning to things and making them appear real. And when the mind changes, things that seem so real, like some people will share, it was so real to them that this was the worst event that ever happened to them. Then the mind shifts, and now it's the best event that ever happened to them. They go, how could the worst event be the best event if it's not either? The only way it could be the worst and the best is it's neither of them. You're giving it the meaning it has. Like a great teacher says, what's conceiving can't be conceived of. The mind, yeah? The mind is the only reality. And it's giving meaning to a lot of things, a lot of seeming things to make them seem to be real. It's not about managing that, it's by checking out what's going on. Like the Course in Miracles gives us a very simple statement. You and I are giving everything all the meaning that it has. Wow. Is that what's going on every day? Yeah, exactly. You and I are giving everything all the meaning it has. What? Oh yeah. That thing that you've given it the meaning. It doesn't say only on Wednesdays and Fridays on a bad month. It doesn't make any exemptions. It says you and I are giving everything all the meaning it has. And it has a beautiful statement that you and I are the dreamer of the dream. We forgot that we're the dreamer, and we've given everything we dreamt the power to affect us. What a better breakdown of what's going on every day than that. A very succinct, basic diagram of what's happening here. You and I are the dreamer of this dream. We forgot that, and everything we're dreaming, we've given it the power to affect us. As what? A dreamt object. You're not going to get over a fear of tigers if you're in a room with a tiger. I don't care how many books you read about how to co-inhabit a small space with a tiger. You're still going to have an unease and discomfort because you know the nature of the tiger can rip your throat out at any second. Yeah? I don't care how, there is no tiger here. It's not going to fucking work. But if you realize you're not the dreamt object, then when you come out of that, is the dreamt tiger going to have any power over you anymore? Obviously not. You'll realize, by realizing you are not the dreamt object, then the dreamt tiger will not have any power over you. If you don't realize that, maybe you'll try to get over the dreamt tiger, but then the dreamt bear will have power over you. Or the dreamt financial condition will have power over you. You'll keep having the power. But if the dreamt object isn't you, then you're relieved from all the other dreamt objects. Because this was the point, the meaning was given to everything else from. Yeah. Why waste time working on the effects? Go to the cause. Yeah. And then you'll know it by its fruits, or you'll know the problem by the solution. When you get relief, you'll know exactly what was going on that was causing you not to live in relief. You'll see it. You've got the ability to see. It's there, like he said, for those who have eyes to see. When the mind is freed from a form of looking, called self-centeredness, it's a form of looking. It's the bastardization of seeing. It's like seeing being bastardized and turned into the seeing that happens here in the dream, called a form of looking. Self-centered. Yeah? So we look in a self-centered manner. So everything that we see, we basically see it how it pertains to us. Yeah? This is an interpretation the mind is offering. And it slips the interpretation and says the interpretation came before the event. But conscious contact happens first. The selfing is a mental process. A process takes time. It may be really quick, but it took time. There's the conscious contact, and then there's the afterthought that I'm the one who's in contact. I'm the one who saw that. And what does what I'm seeing now remind me of? Oh, all these other things I've seen. And then Course in Miracles says that's why you're given everything all the meaning it has, because you see only from the past. You see only the past. Every time I look at anything today, and the seeing has been bastardized, all I'm seeing is the past. When I see someone, it's referred to back seeing them in the past. Or it's always back to this imaginary fucking place called the past. And we're living from there, and like the Course says, you're basically seeing nothing. That's called blindness, isn't it? And to me, I believe a mental process called a form of looking, called self-centeredness, is a blindness to the seeing. It's not that you don't have the ability to see. You're seemingly not seeing now. Yeah. So it's not about I'm going to strive to start seeing. You're seeing right now, but the mind's interpreted into a form of looking. So the what's seeing is turned into who's looking. Yeah. And then the double whammy, the who turns around and starts looking for the what. What's that? It's your watch. You're the watch looking. What? No, I'm the who that's looking for it. No, you're the watch looking right now. While I'm looking for it, exactly. What do you think would happen? Maybe you'd stop looking for it. You'd be seeing from it. Yeah. Boom. Or like a Zen bitch slap. Boom. That's what it is. Your mind wakes up and then it won't be fooled again. So then now, there's the form of looking, and your whole mental interpretation is based on looking, not fucking seeing. It's based on you looking at this, hearing this, doing that, doing this. And it still runs, but what happens is if it isn't about you, you'll basically lose interest in it. And you'll realize what's been fueling it, it doesn't have its own generator. You're its generator. Your believing all this baloney is what causing it to seem real. You're the one who's infusing the light of mind into this projector and projecting this movie in like Panavision. The movie sucks, basically. It's the audience that's giving it its meaning. And the audience is mind, not you, mind. Yeah. And when mind realizes, hey, I may not be this little long-lasting, independent, separate entity, maybe it's going to stretch out a little. Maybe you'll start sensing, well, you find out. That's the best way. Anyone who tries to describe it can only describe the basic translation through this event. But find out is the only true form of knowledge. Fucking knowing doesn't do any good. It's finding out that does something. Yeah. Some people are very, like I'm doing this, I better not say it because they may be listening to it. So there's these, let's say you become a professor of holes, yeah? You know everything about holes, but you keep falling in them. What's the point of the knowledge? Yeah? You inform other people about holes, but maybe they'll get it, but you're still fall into it. This whole idea is, in this one very important point, it's not like an assumed or a contrived I don't know. That's the state of mind. I don't know. That's the infinite emptiness of it, is I don't know. Yeah? It's not something to practice. That's the abstractness of mind is I don't know. In that, it's relegated into finding out in this event called manifestation. That's the way to go. Yeah. You'll find out what works for quote-unquote you and what doesn't work for quote-unquote you. You'll find out a lot of stuff. Yeah. And when the finding out has made its impression, it won't be stored because the real knowledge is space. It's emptiness. It's clarity. It has nothing to do with weight or wealth of information or wisdom. Wisdom is something that downloads in emptiness in a way. It's not like you become a storage unit with all these spiritual concepts. You actually travel quite light. Quite light. Yeah? And the whole point is there's more economizing, more paring down. Things that you thought suddenly or unconsciously were essentials, they get shredded off and stuff like that, and you get to see how light you actually are. Yeah? I mean light, L-I-G-H-T, like light. Yeah. So, in this way, because I remember when I first started going in spirituality with the gurus and everything, there'd be a lot of like the eternal bliss and all like this and all that and all this. And just like hearing about you're a lion, but if you're already predetermined as a sheep, then the best you're going to do with that message of this is what you are is that's what I can become or I can be. That's not it. Because now, while you're trying to become it, you're going to try to become it as a sheep. Yeah? The imperative or the identification is still in place while you're entertaining that you're a lion. You're going to be entertaining you're a lion as a sheep, which is only going to make it, I'm going to become like a lion. So it's going to be funny. The sheep are going to try to get their hair straightened out, have roaring lessons, and all this weird, they go through all these gyrations, and they have, their sheep mind is judging how their sheepness is doing becoming a lion. You know what I mean? Or they maybe have dead masters, which are the greatest authorities. They never have anything to say to you. Oh yeah, I'm in total agreement with this dead master. Fuck, if he was in the room with you, maybe even me, it'd slap me, who knows? And I love it, because at least it would be alive, you know what I mean? There would be something going on. So here's a sheepness trying to become like a lion. And a lot of other sheep think it's a noble move, other people think it's crazy. But the whole point, the mind's not going to overcome the first quote-unquote mistake. It's identified as a sheep. Yeah? You cannot become a lion. Yeah? You can only, it's like making a leap from becoming a lion into being a lion. And that leap doesn't take any time. Yeah? Here you are, becoming, and you're hoping you're getting closer, but in a sense you're moving away from the initial point. You are a lion. Yeah? Then find out what you would do as a lion. Maybe you would stop trying to practice being a lion. Yeah? Maybe all these incredibly invested ideas about getting better and doing this and doing that would be sloughed off without any thought or effort on your part. You would just give up the ghost because you are a lion. Yeah? And now your life would be about finding out what it's like to be a lion, instead of trying out how it's like to try to become a lion like a sheep. Yeah? I did that for a while. It didn't fucking work for me. Yeah? The sheepness is very stubborn. You think that you may give us a huge sense of nobility to spirituality, but it's still like Teflon to spirituality. It can adapt a new identity with robes just as much as with a leather jacket. Yeah? It can morph into any type of appearance. It will co-opt anything it comes in contact with and use it for its own agenda. That's what the mind does. The selfing does. The mental process does. That's like Trungpa Rinpoche said, whatever the ego comes in contact with, it'll take advantage of. Yeah, that's what it does. That wasn't a personal experience. That was a realization. That's the movement of mind, the mental process, the small m. It claims everything. So if the claiming of being something you're not is in place and is not being looked at, then trying to become everything else is going to be determined by that frame, you know? Don't you see? Your idea of being a lion will be framed from the sheep's point of view. Your idea of spirituality will be framed by the sheep's point of view. The basic format will frame everything that you're looking to become or get out of or arrive at or leave, yeah? It will always be, you're welcome, man, take care. I love this meeting. I just do, man. I just do. The power is so unbelievable. I love it. Sometimes it inspires, sometimes it irritates, sometimes it disappoints. But it's always alive. I'm so fucking tired of holding on to dead wires, you know? There's no shock, no energy in it. None. You know, oh, I know. Find out. Woo! Find out. Woo! Find out. No. We provide all the insulation to life. We fucking muffle it and numb it with the sense of knowing. Yeah? Gets to a point you got to do big shots of drums to feel alive. You got to jump off of bridges or take a 40-foot wave or something to wake yourself out of some kind of comfortable or uncomfortable numbness. Because every time we touch life, we numb it out with the insulation of selfing. You know? Then we think if we could just put more juice in it. Without the insulation, just a little event on Saturday morning in Marin City could be unbelievable. Yeah, just seeing the sunflower growing in a crack where you put some seeds in a bird thing in Glen Park, and then some of them fell out of the bird feeder and they fell into a little crack, and now there's a row of sunflower seeds growing. Fucking unbelievable. You know what I mean? Unbelievable. You think you're giving it to the birds, the sunflower seed sees its chance, and then it fucking pops up, this huge sunflower, which what has tons of seeds. Took all these seeds out of this giant sunflower to do what? Feed the birds. Yeah? Could you ever figure the process out like that? Could you? Could you ever figure it out how everything could be beneficial to everything else? No fucking way. But the birds, they eat. I feed, so these blue jays come. Blue jays are pretty fucking smart. So there's a feeder for woodpecker stuff. It's called suede. Suey. You know, that it's like a paste. So the woodpeckers land there, one woodpecker, and then I have a big thing underneath with a plate. And so the blue jay's eating it, some of it drops down onto the plate, the other blue jay waits there, like they're a couple. You know what I mean? This one eats, it's eating, but some of its shit that falls out, it eats. Yeah. I just think it's fucking mind-boggling. How do our minds work? We could never see, I put the sunflower seeds for the birds, and now sunflowers growing that just produced 500 seeds that I can give to the birds. So you actually have it by giving it away. Yeah? And then when we're introduced to this movement of how mind can be, we think because we're so referenced by the sheephead or by self-centeredness, we call it paradoxical. It's very mysterious how the universe works. It isn't mysterious at all. It's fucking incredibly mysterious how we work. It's fucking insane that we keep relying on something that has failed miserably over and over again in our lives, and just take the next formula of how it can be better. Not now, but in time, if you do enough. You know, buy the next formula with the hope that it'll work, and yet that one fails, and then we're on to the next formula. Yeah? And then yet, how things actually work. Oh, very fucking paradoxical. Why is it paradoxical? Because you're trying to fit into a failed thought system. If you gave up the thought system, you'd see the beauty of it. Like in recovery, it says you have it by giving it away. What? Yeah. What coke deal ever practiced that? None, I knew. Oh, I have it by giving. No, I have it by taking more. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing to see. To free the mind and let it see its own expression clear out here, not in all the negativity, but in the beautiful symmetry of how things can work. Yeah. You don't have to go to the Himalayas for that revelation. You can be in Marin City. You can be You're walking out here, looking out this window. It would be so much easier, really, if I said, okay, we got to start doing stuff. Let's go. But fuck, that's not the download to me. It's not the download. I mean, there's too much stuff being offered already. You can fucking get Buddhism, super turbocharged Buddhism with a Pilates workout, fucking all these things. No, this simple thing is, there's nothing to get, basically. You'll be getting and losing tons all your life. That's not going to change. But the sense that you're the light you're looking for is such an incredible, reliable recognition, that you can rest in. Now, you can't add frills onto it. You can't put curtains up on it. It's just a one-window view, You're not that. I mean, you can try to probably package it and say, you're, and then you're not, and then you're not that, and then you're not that, and then you're not that. But basically, you're not that. And then what? That's that. Find out what it's like, Do whatever else is working for you. Marathons, triathlons, swimming, Wherever your tendency, you're going to be there. And you're the light of that event. The event's not bringing light on you. You're the light that you bring to the event. I think it's really empowering. Not a fucking victimization, spiritual passivity, but an incredibly empowering event where you realize, well, this apparatus has been giving everything all the meaning it has. So in a sense, nothing has any meaning except what's giving it the meaning. That's the only meaning there is. Everything else is just given and interpreted and seen and assumed and implied. But what's seeing it is the only reality here. You can maybe do a 3-year class, but if you want to speed it up, just read the one statement by St. Francis. What's looking is what you're looking for. I mean, could he made a book out of that? Every page, what's looking is what you're looking for. Then I would say, all right, if you think this is profound, go to page 67. Go to 68, what's looking is what you're looking for. Advanced students, go to page 300. What's looking is what you're looking for. I mean, where do you need to go when you just hear what's looking is what you're looking for? You're meant to entertain it. You're the field. The mind is the field. These are little seeds thrown from the winds of the past by people who entertain possibilities. And they've withstood this winds of time. And so they're beautiful little drops into this little thing, and then it produces ripples in the mind itself. And you sense the ripples of the mind, and your mind opens up. And then one fucking enclosed view opens up with other possibilities. And you find out, man, I was the frame. There is no fucking window. I've been playing the frame. The way I'm looking at it has been the frame. This has been the aperture. I can't go around and move the aperture. All I do is recognize something, and then the aperture moves. And as it moves, you get included in what's appearing in front of it. Where before, everything was appearing to you as this, coming through this frame, and you thinking you're seeing everything, suddenly it opens up, and you're seen. You're seen in a giant, vast view. Then in all the movements and gyrations of day where the aperture seems to go this and that, you're not fooled anymore. All of those are seeming movements, They can only last in time, and they can only appear in time, So they're going like this and that, but we're like that ball in the water, and the water is in like this let's say machine called duality. So it goes either this way or that way. So there's a current. And so the ball moves by the whole current and thinks it's here and thinks it had something to do with getting here and has a whole story about here, and then suddenly it moves that way. And it goes, oh, I fucking really blew it. Now I'm in this here that I don't want to be in. And then it moves this way. and we tell a whole story about how we're in control of our position on the thing, and not realizing we're the context, we're the water, not the little bobbing ball. You're having an experience of the bobbing ball. That's going to continue, but to be it is different than realizing what you're of. Being in it is different than being it. I remember I worked with this guy in recovery, and he'd always say, "I know." And I go, "Well," I said, "No, you don't." "No, I know. I know I don't know," whatever. And I said, "Well, if you didn't know, if you knew, you wouldn't be feeling or expressing how you're feeling as you are right now to me." "But I know that." "No, you don't know." The I know deters all other evidence having any kind of ability to germinate in your life. And everything gets nuded. It becomes like a frozen landscape so that you can be mentally safe. And in that mental safety, it's like what we're doing in this country. People are giving up their liberty for supposed security. That's the big shift, hasn't it been since 2001? Tons of liberties given up for the sake of security. Well, in a sense, it's mirroring what's happening in people's heads. The security of the mentality, of the mental process called selfing is I know. It wants to know at all costs, and it's willing to give up the ability to find out so that it can have a secure sense of, oh, I know. Even if it's bad, even if it's miserable, as long as it's familiar, there's a certain sense of safety in it, As long as you know that it sucks, in a way, that's sort of better than taking a chance and finding out if it could be different. I saw it with my mother through alcoholism, ending up on the couch every night drinking Schaefer beer. When I was younger, she was a very enthused, vibrant person, and then from drinking and age and just what happened in her life, she just ended up on a couch every night drinking and falling asleep. That was familiar to her. That was safe. And then every year she'd bitch about not being able to go to Hawaii, asking for the kids to buy her a ticket. Finally, we bought her a ticket. Do you think she went? No. She didn't want to go to Hawaii. She just wanted to go to Hawaii. She wanted to make sure you knew she wanted to go and you weren't helping her. But when she was given the offer, she didn't go to Hawaii. It was safer, That's sort of the mental drive. It's giving up liberty for security. It's giving up the fear of it, which isn't, the fear is excitement of I don't know a lot of the time. We call it fear, but it's excitement. We're giving up that possibility to have this secure I know, which to me is it's like a numbing effect. It's like being drained out of life. Your hand gets moved from the pulse and you get put somewhere else where there's everything is just the way things should be. Even if they suck, at least you know them, Man. This isn't like that at all. This isn't a passivity. It isn't victimhood. This is really empowering because you realize, like in AA, what they try to do is they take you out of the circumstantial level, and even with a 4-column inventory, when we do an inventory in recovery, you look at your fears, resentments, and harm does to other, and you start out with 4 columns, and the first 2 columns, everyone in a bar today does every day. They know who they're mad at and why. They're complaining and bitching about them all fucking day. It doesn't lead to any recovery. But if you bring it back and look at your role in it, why not take it back even farther? Why stop at the 4th column of the program? Take it back farther and see your fucking role in things. You've got a much bigger role than you imagine. And look at how much relief came from just starting to take a little ownership of the role you had by what your role in a situation was. Can you imagine if you saw your role in this whole situation? How empowering that could be? How freeing that could be? With the same principles that we're using to just get a little relief from the 4 columns, to get relief from the whole enchilada is based on the same principles. You're not managerial quality, surrender. Instead, now it's surrendered. You've seen something. You've realized this is the power. Everything can only arise to the point of seemingly being so. Because you're the reality, that's why. What seems to be real cannot replace what's real. It can only appear to what's real to be real. That's what's going on. You're the reality. And yet this is appearing to be real to us. How could it appear real to anything else but reality? Yeah? What would give something that was unreal the meaning of realness unless it was reality that gave it that meaning? How could unreality get that meaning? It has to be given that meaning by what's real. What's real is what's looking. Right now. Yeah. How could what's not real, how could false evidence appear real? Only because what's real is taking it to be so. Yeah? That's your role. I think it's very large. And it doesn't mean you'll be trying to change things. You just sit with the information. You sit with the download, see what it triggers, and then just like you've always been an expression of finding out, you'll be finding out. Yeah. So when you have a real feeling, the feeling isn't real. It's what's owning, claiming to be the feeler of it that's causing it to seem so real. Yeah. Reality is is the only thing that could give meaning to unreality as seeming to be real. There's no other place it could come from. Yeah. So if we're giving everything the meaning it has, and things can seem to be real to us, I guess we're the reality. Yeah. We're the dreamer. I find that incredibly enriching. Yeah, it's like taking the program of AA and really taking it way, way back, and the amount of relief you got from just taking it from one column of fucking Dan to what was my role in it brought a huge relief. Can you imagine? Fucking all the Dans and all the Marys and all the Sues and all the this and that, to see that your role in all of it would bring about a monstrous relief. I would imagine. Yeah. Why not let it go as far as it can go and stopping it at like the fourth column? Or just keeping it compartmentalized with drinking. Expand on it. Like it says, you'll cease fighting everyone in anything. It doesn't say you'll cease fighting alcoholism. It says anyone in anything. Expand on it. Expand on the principle. Or just entertain the principle, and you'll be amazed how large it can get. If it's not being framed by your own understanding. So the higher power, instead of having a higher power of your understanding of it, how about having a higher power of its own understanding? Let it tell you what it is, instead of you defining what it can be. Yeah? You limiting what it can be by telling yourself what it is, let it tell you what it is. It would be incredibly revelatory. I mean, unbelievably revelatory. You won't believe how many levels of selfing are going on. Like a 30-layer chocolate cake, all different layers of chocolate, the same fucking chocolate, but all different. And you think you know the cake, but there's like 20 more layers. Yeah. So yes, it's good news to some. Some it isn't. Yeah, I guess I could clean up the messenger and make him better, but I can't do that either. Don't have any interest in it. I have interest in T-shirts and stuff. That's about it. My interest is.
I think a metallic robe would be nice.
Metallic robe, yeah. I like one that would maybe have a big disco ball and hit light. He blinded me today. Oh yes, I blinded you. That's the beauty of this message, man. It says you're the product that this introductory offer has to offer. You're the product. Yeah. There's never been a person who was a person to you. You've just given them tons of meanings, tons of different times. Yeah? So yes.
So where's the bucket?
So bucket here. Yeah, bucket. It allows me to hear change and stuff. I judge your seating arrangement next meeting by the topic. Jack, how are you, man?